Welcome to GLHF videos. Today I bring you the 10 best game studios and publishers of all time. We'll take a look at which studios have the best titles, how they treat their customers, and their general contribution to the gaming space. Before we begin though, drop a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and as always, we would love to hear your opinions in the comment section below. What in your opinion is the best gaming studio or publisher? Let's start this list off with number 10, Epic Games. Epic Games is an easy pick for this list because of several reasons. The first one is that it has one of the most, if not the most, commercially successful game with the widest ranging audience ever. Any studio would absolutely kill to have a game like Fortnite under their belt. On top of that, they have Unreal Tournament, which is the precursor to many great arcade shooters like the original Call of Duty Modern Warfare. And speaking of Unreal, they also bring us Unreal Engine 5. Completely for free, so anyone can bring their games into life with crazy good graphics. There are also two less good things about Epic Games that I want to mention in this entry, is that they're giving back to their community with the creator code, which lets you generate extra revenue anytime someone is purchasing something with your code in their stores. The second thing is Fortnite Creative, which lets you create a Fortnite experience through the creative islands in the game or through the Unreal Engine and generate income from it. Yes, this is a way for them to generate free content from their community, but they do facilitate the engine, the multiplayer infrastructure, and the servers that you get, so you can hone your programming skills while making some money out of it. Number 9. Bethesda Games. There's plenty of bad things to say about Bethesda Games as a studio, especially after the whole Fallout 76 debacle and them remastering Skyrim 700 times to the point where you can probably play the game on a calculator. They also managed to create some very clunky UIs and menus that if you don't have access to mods like the PC community, you're pretty much stuck with it. All of the above still doesn't take away from their contribution to the RPG open world space with the Elder Scrolls series that brought us Skyrim and the Fallout series except for Fallout 76. Despite the fact that the games require mods to fix the shortcomings of the development team, their support for mods had spawned off one of the biggest modding communities in the gaming space, with 70,000 mods estimated at the low end just for Skyrim. These mods can be as small as a graphic enhancement or more items in the game, and they can change the entire experience like Skyrim Together, which makes the game a co-op experience. Number 8. Infinity Ward. After creating 3 pretty good Call of Duty titles based on World War II, Infinity Ward back in 2006 had set their sights on creating the Halo Killer, an FPS game that would rival and dethrone the then popular Halo series. With the release of Call of Duty 4, the original Modern Warfare, they had conquered the FPS genre and set in motion the 6-year-long rule over the gaming world by the Call of Duty franchise. It also arguably made the YouTube gaming community what it is today through the large amount of gameplay commentators that they spawned off around the game. Some of them are still active content creators today in one form or another. You can see Call of Duty 4's imprint on most modern multiplayer FPS titles. Combine that with the addictive, smooth multiplayer experience they brought us through the original Modern Warfare series and the great action-packed campaigns, Infinity Ward deserved the spot on this list despite the few stinkers they created, like the quote-unquote campaign of the rebooted Modern Warfare 3. Number 7. Treyarch Studios. In the typical Call of Duty development cycle, you have Infinity Ward, which was the previous studio mentioned on this list and probably the most famous one working on the Call of Duty franchise, but I would like to give props to Treyarch, who brought us Call of Duty World at War and the Black Ops series. The entire waves of zombie co-op modes that spawned in the late 2000s and early 2010s was very much thanks to Treyarch, who created the Zombies mode in Call of Duty World at War. It was initially an extra mode that was maybe an afterthought, but through DLC it was refined, and in my opinion it was perfected in the original Black Ops 1. Thanks to that, they have their name on one of the most popular co-op modes in history. And it's not just that. World at War was a great World War II title. It was very gritty and grim. It really captures the vibe and horrors of that war. The Black Ops 1 campaign was very ballsy and something probably no studio can make today. Black Ops 2 brought us the branching storyline where every choice in the campaign mattered. Yes, the story experience really fell off in Black Ops 3 and they completely skipped the story mode in Black Ops 4, but they made up for it with an extremely balanced multiplayer experience, which they've been known for since Black Ops 1. One last thing that it's important to mention is that they've brought us the first Battle Royale game with the classic Call of Duty feel and gameplay. There's definitely plenty to criticize them for, but every Call of Duty game they made is a solid experience, followed up by really well made DLCs. Number 6. Larian Studios. Some of you right now either don't know the name or think that I've ranked the studio way too low. Larian Studios are the one who brought us Baldur's Gate 3, one of the most well-crafted, deep and detailed experiences out there today. The game is truly limitless with the amount of options available to every encounter in the game and the unending amount of branches in the storyline. I admit that I barely played Baldur's Gate 3, but it's very rare to see such a well-made, critically acclaimed game in today's market with no microtransactions. In fact, it was so well made that many developers and publishers had panicked at the idea of this game becoming the new standard for the industry. The scope and depth of the game, with the polish that it has and the fact that it has no microtransactions, makes studios like EA quake in their boots, because they rather make billions of dollars from releasing the same sports title every year with very little effort or polish and fill it to the brim with microtransactions. I wish there were more studios like Larian Studios, and the relative low rank in this list is because they're not a big name yet and they only have one really big title under their belt, but I only wish them well. Before we move on to the 6th entry on this list, you stuck with me until now, so why not give this video a quick like before we move on? It helps the channel a lot. Now it's time for number 5, FromSoftware. FromSoftware is an easy pick to make for this list, even though I never played their titles extensively. Every single one of their titles are very well known for how great they are. Just take a look at Elden Ring. It's very rare to create a series like the Soul series that defines a whole new genre where every game that is very difficult, unforgiving, but is not roguelike is called Souls-like instead. Much like Larian Studios, FromSoftware proves that a well-crafted game experience that is unapologetic for its style and genre can be successful without microtransactions, and gives hope for older players like me who are used to the traditional experience where you buy the game just once and it's complete. There is no live service, game-breaking bugs or microtransactions, just like the previous entry on this list. Many viewers who watch this video right now want to probably rank them higher, but I'm not a Souls player, so it's lower on my list. I definitely have respect though for a studio that has such a big following, playing these games religiously despite of how hard they are and how unforgiving they can be. Elden Ring is the highest rated game on Metacritic right now, tied with only Baldur's Gate 3 with a 96 score. Number 4. CD Projekt Red. This studio is mostly known for their great adaptations of the Witcher books. CD Projekt Red had taken the 3rd place overall on Metacritic with the Witcher 3 game, which is the biggest feather on their cap, boasting a 94 score on Metacritic. They also rightfully got a lot of flack for releasing Cyberpunk 2077 with a ton of bugs and many features missing to PC and the 9th generation of consoles. The game was completely unplayable if you had the 8th generation of consoles, which are the PS4 and the Xbox One, and it resulted in an unprecedented wave of refunds in the PlayStation Store. Luckily, 3 years later they managed to patch up the game and bring it to a good state while releasing 2 banger free-to-play DLCs that completely redeemed the game and fixed it, turning it from a stain on their record to another feather on their cap. Ideally, they would have released the game in its complete state, but at least they didn't abandon it after all the backlash and came through with the complete game eventually. And in number 3 on this list we have id Software. id Software lands the 3rd spot on this list, bringing us great titles like Wolfenstein, Quake, and the very iconic Doom series. Doom Eternal was one of the best single-player titles I've had the pleasure to play recently. The gameplay loop is very fun, challenging, and rewarding. It's very easy to see Doom as a mindless rampage arcade shooter, but you're given very little amount of HP, armor, and ammo. You have to chain your kills the right way or you'll find yourself dead pretty quickly. Linear as it was, the game was still a great single-player experience. On top of being a solid studio with such classic titles, id Software was a pioneer in the industry and were originally helmed by one of the best software and game developers in the world, John Carmack, who after leaving the company had moved on to work on VR. Number 2. Valve. On top of creating Steam, Valve had contributed a lot to the gaming world, creating great co-op titles like Portal 2 and Left 4 Dead, bringing us the Half-Life series which brought us scripted action sequences that you saw in games like Call of Duty 4, and the game engine itself which was used to develop the original Counter-Strike mode that spawned off the series. They also brought us Team Fortress 2, which on its own is a huge game, but it was also the first hero shooter game that essentially created the genre and heavily influenced games like Overwatch. They also arguably created the first AAA VR title in a market that sorely needed it. There's also many memes that spawned off of Valve and Valve games, like the fact that they never create a number 3 entry in any game series, the cake is a lie, and the endless amount of TF2 based memes. Valve's contribution to the gaming world and the PC community in general is probably hard to quantify, but that's why they're second place on this list. Before we move on to the number 1 studio / publisher on this list, make sure to drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any of our future videos. And now we move on to number 1, Rockstar Games. With so many iconic titles under their belt like Max Payne, Bully, Midnight Club, Red Dead Redemption, and GTA, Rockstar Games are the clear number 1 pick in my book. While GTA didn't invent the open world genre, it was definitely popularized with GTA 3. The scope of the most recent Rockstar Games titles like GTA 5 and Red Dead Redemption 2 is huge. The level of polish in detail in their worlds, the side missions, the Easter eggs, and the satiric undertones are the maker's mark of Rockstar Games. If Rockstar Games put their name on a title and their focus on making it a great game, I know it would be a great game 100%. In the most recent talks about GTA 6, it was rumored that the game's price tag would probably be $100. Let me tell you right here and right now that I would gladly pay $100 for games like GTA 5. In most games I find myself itching to progress with the story and anxiously push through the filler missions. I never felt that for 1 second while playing GTA 5. I absolutely relished every single encounter, mission and side content. I found myself wishing the game was longer, wishing there were more story missions, and I was very sad once I finished it. This is a true mark of a great game, and it's very rare that I feel that way about any game in recent history. But this is our list for the best game studios and publishers. What studio in your opinion is the best? Leave it in the comments below and make sure you like the video before you jump onto the next one that you see on screen right now. Thank you guys for watching, good luck and have fun.